guys, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Jordana, and if not, then thank you for coming back and taking the time to watch my videos. I really appreciate it. If you hear puppy noises, then my puppies are crying because my dog just had 3 babies and they're just driving me crazy and driving me wild, madly in love at the same time. Sometimes I want to kick them, but I don't. And sometimes I just want to, most of the time I just want to kiss them, but they cry all the time because that's what puppies do when they don't get their way. So without further ado, the video that I'm gonna film today is the makeup I wanna use. First, I'm gonna show you the products that I used last month, and then I'm gonna show you the products that I chose to use from today till May 20th. I gotta say, it's weird filming on my actual room, but I'm loving the lighting because I'm in front of a window, and even though they're workers across the street working on the building that's gonna be next door, and they watch me like crazy because I look insane talking to a camera, I don't mind it, but the lighting is so beautiful. I actually love it. I don't even have my ring light on and it looks stunning. It looks perfect. So if you want to see the makeup that I chose and my thoughts on the makeup that I used this month, then just keep on watching. I know I'm looking like Mufasa, but who cares? Okay, so I have a list right here. So the first palette that I'm going to show you is the Modern Renaissance, and that palette only had 2 shades that I've hit pan on. One already had a bigger pan, which was burnt orange, but then that day that I filmed the video, I hit pan on red ochre, but now I have pan in 7 shades, and I have 2 more that I'm about to hit pan on. So I'm really happy with the result. Definitely this was the palette that I used the most throughout the month. And I also have to say that Antique Bronze is not a shade that I would really recommend. I don't like it. I don't like the way it's not even buildable. As you're blending it, it removes itself. Sort of like this blue eyeshadow that I have on my eyes today. It's just, it was a hassle to do this makeup look. And another one that I don't really love is Love Letter. It feels super dry. I don't love the reddish tones on my eyes, like the pinky fuchsia tones on my eyes. But Red Ochre and Venetian Red worked fine. But Love Letter is just so hard to work with. And Antique Bronze, it was just not my thing. The second palette that I feel like I did good was the Natasha Denona palette, the green brown one. And even though I didn't hit any pan on that eyeshadow palette, I actually used it a lot. I think it's really hard to hit pan on this eyeshadow palette because it's more pigmented, and when I use it, I don't really do bold looks, but more of a subtle kind of look. I almost never use the shimmers, but I always use the satins, so they give more of a subdued vibe. But I used this on a client also, one client. She had like hazel eyes and it looked beautiful on her. I'm gonna insert pictures of makeup looks that I've done. Definitely used it more right now than what I did in the past. And this shade right here, this one, it has a dent. So that means that I actually used it more than a few times. My thoughts on that eyeshadow palette have changed a little bit because I still think it's high quality. I still think that it's worth it because it has a ton of product on each pan and it has a ton of eyeshadows. But the thing is, these eyeshadows work better with fingers, so much better. So me, since I have long nails, it's super hard to work with products that I have to use my fingers to use them because I can't dig my nail into an eyeshadow that's $200 and something. I'm not gonna do it. I know that I'm gonna pull it out more now that I used it, but I don't think I should get more eyeshadows that are that way because I don't want to use my fingers. I don't want to use my fingers. That's the truth. So the mattes work beautifully, but this eyeshadow palette has a lot of shimmers and a lot of satin shades that look even prettier when I apply them with my fingers. So if I'm not gonna be able to use my fingers, then what's the point? If someone would have told me that the eyeshadow palette that I wanted to use the most was the one that I used the least, I wouldn't have believed them. So this is Sassy Sienna's, and this eyeshadow palette was the one that I wanted to use the most, but I didn't want to focus on this one and forget about the rest. Keeping that in mind, I just used it like once. So this was a fail for the project, but I know that I love this eyeshadow palette. If I wasn't so into this series, I would just use this eyeshadow palette and a few more that I just got and that's it, because I love warm tones. But I'm so grateful and I'm so happy that I'm doing this series. This is so far my favorite series that I've done on my channel. So far my favorite type of videos, because I actually get to play with a lot of products that I wouldn't have played with if I didn't do this series. So this one, I know that I'm gonna reach for it at some point this month, because I bought it and the formula is amazing and I haven't really used it. So this palette, I didn't use it that much, but I actually used it, finally used it. Because before this time, I only used it once for a video that I filmed and that was it. But this time I used it for a bride and I used it on myself to work on the transition shades. I didn't use any of the colorful shades, and this is the Jaclyn Hill palette with Morphe. So I don't know if you can see, but it actually looks a little bit more used. You can see on the shimmers that I've put my brush in them. On the mattes, I only focus on using these ones, which are the transition shades, and I love them. The bride I did makeup on, I use these two shades right here. I've been really reaching for it. I love this brown, I love this one, I love this one. So I reach for it way more. But to be honest, I focus more on the Modern Renaissance than any other palette. So it was in this order. First Modern Renaissance, then Natasha Denona, then Jaclyn Hill, and then Dose of Colors. And I think it's a better quality than what I thought it was. So it actually surprised me, and now I know I'm gonna be using it more on clients and using it more on myself. For blushes, I had 4, but one is a duo, so I had actually 5. The duo is the Blush Duo by NARS in Deep Throat and Amour, and this one I really used it a ton. And this is super pigmented, so you don't really need a lot, but you can see that it actually broke. I don't know if I should just buy a NARS palette and depot my NARS blushes that are broken, because I prefer the singles, but maybe I will someday, maybe, I don't know, not yet. But this one I really liked. I love Deep Throat, and for deeper skin tones or just for the apples of the cheeks, Amour, it's just beautiful, and they're both super soft. I love the pigmentation of NARS blushes. If you want to see my NARS blush collection, I'm gonna leave it someplace on the screen. The other NARS blush that I chose was Impassion, and this one, it's a light orchid color. This one, even though I used it, I didn't use it that much, but it was the same thing as with the Dose of Color palette. I love this one so much that I know I'm gonna reach for it whether I have to or not. But the other ones I needed to make myself use them. This is one of my favorite blushes from NARS, and you can see the true color right there, because when I put it up close to the window, it doesn't look as beautiful. So this is so pretty, a light pink, and it looks beautiful on the cheeks. It looks more nude than pink actually. One that I'm obsessed with, that I need to put away, because if not, I'm not gonna grab any other blush. It's the Ambient Strobe Lighting Blush in the shade Brilliant Nude. And this one was on my last haul, and I know you guys won't be able to see, but the pattern looks, you know, when you put a brush a lot into a product, it looks just worn. But since it's a pattern, you can't actually see that it's being used a ton. But this one I use the most. And I really love this blush. I truly love it. I find it to be super wearable, beautiful. I should just pick up nude shades, because those are my favorite. And sometimes I wear orangey blushes, like today, peachy blushes. Those are my second favorite. But nude blushes are everything and more. So this one I would highly recommend it if you can get it on the VIB sale, if it isn't already over. And then last but not least is the one that I have on my cheeks today, which is the Too Faced Papa Don't Peach blush. And it comes in this cute little packaging. I adore it. And this one actually got lost for a while, because since I was moving, I put it in a makeup bag and I couldn't find it. But since I found it, I've been reaching for it a ton. And before I moved, which is like 2 weeks ago, I was using this one the most. So this one and the Hourglass have been the most loved. I think it's gonna be one of my favorite blushes, because it's not only peachy, but it gives you sort of a bronzy look. And after you buff it into your skin with the Hourglass Ambient Lighting powders, it looks freaking flawless on the skin. It looks beautiful. I like the scent. I prefer the chocolate scent, but this one works also. And the packaging is perfection. There's nothing as beautiful as bright blue, cobalt blue with peach or orange blushes and lipstick. It's just its goals. So now I'm going to show you the fail on the highlighter category, because this one I used it like 5 times and then all I used was the other highlighter that I have here. So this is Albatross by NARS, and you guys can see that this is sort of a whitish type of highlighter with a golden sheen, and it's actually not a bad highlighter. It's just not amazing when you compare it to other highlighters. So I'm gonna just keep using it. Maybe I'll put it in a project pan to try and pan it and get rid of it. It's not something that I will reach for a lot. It's just not my style of highlighter, and I find it to be sometimes too yellow, but I've seen it on Asian skin. Oh my god, this looks beautiful. This looks beautiful. This one and the Dose of Color palette were my fails from this project, but I used it more than I would have if I didn't put it on this project, so I don't regret it. And then on the other hand, I heat pan on Laura Geller Gilded Honey, and you can see the pan in the middle. It's super hard to heat pan on a highlighter, and this one is definitely one of my all-time favorite highlighters. So I would highly recommend you guys picking this one up because it's so stunning and buttery. I have it today mixed with Pearl by Becca, and you can see right here how it's so blingy, and when you wet it with Fix Plus, it's just even more perfect. So yeah, Gilded Honey is just buttery perfection, and I love that the packaging, even though it's plasticky, it's just small and compact, and if you had even 4 shades, you wouldn't be taking that much room. And now I have the 2 bronzers left, and this one was also a success because it's Seaside by NARS, and it had a pattern, and you can see right here how the pattern is almost completely gone, because this one I used it a ton. What I noticed about this shade is that it runs a little bit pink when I put it on my skin. I know this is the lightest shade, but I thought since I'm light that this would look bronzy on me, but it actually pulls a little bit pink. So it's pretty, but it's not the type of look that I look for in a bronzer, not for an everyday, but maybe for a bronzy blush this would work. I'm gonna still keep using it, and I know that if I don't keep obsessing over it, I can put it on my kid because I get clients that are lighter than me and this will work on them. But it's actually a beautiful product, and I love products that don't have a lot of kick up. This, you can put your brush in it and it's picking up color, but you'll never notice. You know when you apply it on your face, but you don't notice the powder going everywhere, and that for me, I don't know, it's just less messy. This one is the Bahama Mama by the Balm, and this has seen better days. I think I need to just, when I finish a few more, purchase a new one. And I didn't finish all of the product that was left. Remember that this was repressed, so it already had a huge pan. And when I started using it and using it and using it, because this is one of my all-time favorite bronzers, it started to crumble. This is the bronzer that I use almost for the entire month. So a lot of it, it's gone because I used it, but a ton of it fell off today because I don't like having messy pieces, and it's not worth it for me to repress it again when it didn't have enough product for me to repress it. It was just gonna be messy. And this has been well loved, so I can just make myself finish it and then buy it again, because this is one of those products that will make you look bronzy. But like if you went for a month to Maui and then started to tan every day so often that you don't get pink anymore, but you get just this brownish tone, this is the way this bronzes up your skin. It will make you look bronzy and browny. It will make you look orange or pink, but more bronzy and more olivey. This is so stunning. This is one of my favorite bronzers of all time. Okay guys, and now for the products that I choose from April to May. So this is from April 18th to May 18th. And I chose actually 5 palettes this time because I want to have variety and I want to be able to use what I have. So I chose one that was small because I want to incorporate smaller palettes. And since we're actually in spring, I wanted to add a few palettes that had a few shades that would work for spring and that I can use on one makeup tutorial perhaps, because you guys hate my makeup tutorials. When I do project panning videos, they get like 2,000 views, 3,000 views. But when I do a tutorial, I get like 100 views. So I know you guys don't like them, but I still want to do them for any of you that like them. So pops of color are everything in spring. And I chose the first palette because it has a pop of color and because it was expensive and I want to get my money's worth. So the first one is the Natasha Denona Aries palette. This was from the holiday collection. I think they still have it. So it's this one right here. This is the pop of color that I was wearing in a video a few videos ago. The blue one, I was wearing it on my inner corner. These are beautiful and they came up with a new formula. This one is from the new formula and it's a shade that you actually use to blend the other shades, and it will incorporate and help them blend but give a little bit of a shift to it or just help them blend better. For me, you have to know about makeup. So when people said that these palettes were crappy, I didn't really agree because I have them. I know that they're good. It's just that you have to take the time to do the research. Natasha Denona, she's a knowledgeable makeup artist. So if she creates a new formula, it's not because she feels that something is wrong with her old formula. She didn't discontinue her old formula. Not when she did these palettes. She just added one formula of eyeshadow on each palette so that you can use it in a different way to help blend the other eyeshadows, to just give a glossy look to the eye, to just put it as a topper, because not everything is meant to do the same things. So people started complaining that the swatches weren't the same, that the eyeshadows were not super pigmented, but they weren't meant to be super pigmented. They were meant to blend everything out, to just help with the other eyeshadows or to give a shift or a change to other eyeshadows. So please people, if you're a YouTuber, do your research. Do your research, because not everything can be just one way. She's a makeup artist and she does a lot of editorials, so she wants products that can be versatile for the editorials, photo shoots, and everything. And I find that to be refreshing. I don't want every eyeshadow to be super metallic and high pigment. Some eyeshadows I want them to be buildable. Some eyeshadows I want them to be sheer. Some eyeshadows I want them to blend other eyeshadows. So everything has a purpose, and when you're a makeup artist, you want to play and learn about makeup, not just put it on and believe in everything you know and that's it, and not want to learn more. So yeah, that's the story, the long story behind the Aries palette by Natasha Denona. So I chose it because of the blue. Since we're in spring, I want to do a pop of color kind of look on my channel, or just wear it because I find that to be fun. And I almost always wear just neutral shades. The second one is super neutral, and this one I forgot about it. And it's well loved, and when I first got it I was obsessed with it. It's the Narcissist Loaded palette, and I think this was a limited edition. I'm not so sure, but this is almost only a neutral palette, and it has a touch of warm, but it also has cool tones. And I love, 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 love this shade right here. So this one can be a companion to the other palettes or used by itself, but I can just use this one and do pops of color with this one. Another new eyeshadow palette that I have in my collection that I wanted to use was the Tarte Toasted palette. And this one I've barely touched. You can see when it says Tarte and the Tarte name shows itself completely, you can see that those shades are not super loved. So the ones that I've used the most are the matte right here and then the dark matte right there. But that's about it. So I want to really show some love to this palette and see what it's made of. And I have to say, the Tarte eyeshadows smell like, oh my god, like everything I want in life. So yeah, the Tarte Toasted was one of the picks for this month. And I love it. It's just a warm eyeshadow palette. And I have to put warm eyeshadow palettes because I love them. So a neutral, a pop of color, and a warm. And I chose more of a cool tone eyeshadow palette with the Tarte in Bloom. And this one, I've been loving it a ton on my kit. But I want to play with it more for myself. And you can see it right there. This has been more loved than my other palettes. And I've used a lot of Smarty Pants and Sweetheart and Flower Child and Charmer and Funny Girl, which I think is not as pigmented as it should be, but it's still so beautiful. Firecracker, Rebel, Leader. I want to use Jet Setter more, Rocker, Smoke Show, and Activist. But this is a refreshing palette, and it's just different and pretty, And even though it's more cool tone and a little bit more neutral, I don't find it to be boring, and I find it to be an amazing companion to any palette that you have. So it works beautiful by itself, but it works beautiful with other palettes as well, because it has, the mattes are perfection. The way these eyeshadows blend, the way they are pigmented, the way they smell, it's just an all over good eyeshadow formula. So that's why I chose the two Tartelette palettes, because I just love them and I almost never show them love. The Tartelette in Bloom I use on my clients, but never on myself. Today, when I was looking for the products that I had on the list, I decided that I wanted to add another eyeshadow palette. And the reason why was because lilac is so in style right now. It's just the color of the season. It's beautiful. And the only eyeshadow shade that I felt like I wanted to use that I haven't used a lot, it's the Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette, because I got this one and I used it a couple times when I first got it, and then I basically forgot about it, like we all do when we have a ton of makeup. So this has these three shades: Twilight, Amethyst, and Royal. And it also has Angelic. So I can use the rest of them because they're right up my alley, and they have also cool tones and a gold and everything. But what I want to use the most is these three shades right here that are outside of my comfort zone and that I won't find on the other four palettes that I chose. So yeah, and that will help me also just play with this palette a ton, because it's not a cheap palette, and if I got it, I really have to play with it. For blushes, I chose 4. 3 of them look similar, but they're not. The formula is different, and the color, it's actually different. It's just the same tone, but lighter, darker, just mixed with a little bit of black. It's different. So the first one that I chose that I've never used, I think I swatched it a couple times, but I've never really used it on my cheeks. It's the Indecent Blush by Urban Decay. And this one, you can see it right there. It's just a peachy blush, and I've heard Kelly Gooch talk about it a ton, and I really wanted to pull it out and play with it, because this formula, I've heard that it's amazing, but I got it in a 21 days of sale at Ulta, and since I got it, I haven't really used it. And maybe I will fall in love with the formula and grab 2 shades that I've always been eyeing that weren't there the day that I picked this one up. One of them is Video, and the other one I don't really remember, but they're both nudes that I know I will pick up. But I want to know if I fall in love with the formula. And it's super compact and cute, so Indecent is the first blush pick. The second one that it's permanent, because 2 of them are just limited edition blush. The NARS Dual Intensity Blush in the shade Ferber. And this one has 2 shades, so it's actually as if I picked 5 blushes. And one of them is super bricky, and they're both glowy and pretty. And the other one is more peachy, but they're just glowy and buttery. These ones I used when I first got them like 2 years ago or more, and then I stopped using them. So I really want to use them more and see if I love them. So you can actually mix them or use them wet, but I actually prefer the formula when they're dry. They're just stunning. I just don't know why I don't reach for them. So this is the only pinky reddish tone that I chose. The other ones are more orangey. Then I have a limited edition palette from NARS, which is the Realm of the Senses palette. And this one was, I think, a holiday palette or a summer palette, and it has 3 shades that you can mix together because it's basically new. I was swatching it before filming this video. This is one of the bigger blushes from NARS. You can see the comparison right there. So I have a ton of product here, and I really need to use it more often, or just use it at all, because I've had this for about 4 years and it's still unused. And then I have the Pierre Hardy Rotonde blush, and this one I have a backup of it, and I just swatched it and erased the gold pattern that it had, but I haven't used it more than swatching it. So I really need to pull this one out and use it more. This is a more tangerine, more matte and orange blush, and it's just beautiful. When I put this close to my eye look, I'm obsessed with it. So yeah, these I want to use more. For highlighters, I chose 2 highlighters. So this is the Charlotte Tilbury Bar of Gold. This was limited edition, but I think now you can find it. This used to be one of my favorites, but I forgot about it. and this looks beautiful on the cheeks, and it has sort of a glow, and it's more of a whitish gold. I love the packaging, even though it looks more expensive and it's only cardboard, but it's just super pretty and it looks beautiful on the cheeks, and I really want to use it because this is like a 40 something dollar kind of highlighter. And then the other one, it's a oldie but a goodie. This is the Dior Amber Diamond, and this one I bought when I was in New York and then they discontinued it. And this one I chose because I don't want to lack any color of highlighter, and this one you can mix it all together or just use one stripe, whatever you like, and it looks stunning on the cheeks. This is so beautiful. I don't know why they decided to discontinue this one. And then for bronzers, I have three. The first one is something that I never reach for, which is the MAC Refined Golden Bronzer. It's a warm bronzer with gold speckles, but the speckles don't go to your skin when you are using it. And this one, it's actually permanent, but I bought it when they came up with the Alluring Aquatics collection. You can see the reflection of everything there. Wow. This one is actually pretty, but I don't know, I never reach for it. I think maybe because I feel like it's gonna be super warm on my skin, but I wouldn't know because I haven't tried it. So this is the first bronzer that I chose. The second one is one of my all-time favorites, and you can see it's the Givenchy Healthy Glow Powder in the shade 3, and I actually hit pan on this powder and I would highly recommend it. For me, this is beautiful on brides. I don't know why I haven't been putting it on my kit, because this one I'm obsessed with. It gives you a glow, but it doesn't look shiny. It's more of a satin finish. It's just beautiful. This is one of my all-time favorite bronzers of all time, and they have like 5 or 6 shades. So you can actually pick your favorite one, and it's in that gelée type of formula that I love, that doesn't have kick up. And then last but not least, I chose one that's lighter, and it's supposed to be matte, but it also has a sheen. The Sunlit Bronzer by Becca in the shade Valley Sands, and it's this one right here. I've actually used it. The waves are dying. You can actually see how light it is when I put it next to my face, but you can build it up and it builds up beautiful on the skin. So yeah guys, that was everything for today's video. If you have any questions or any suggestions, or you want to see something from this project progress, or something that you think I have in my collection that you want me to put on my next project progress, please leave it in the comments down below. Don't forget to check out my Project Pan 20 before summer that I just filmed and posted. Don't forget to follow me on my social media. We're almost a family of 10,000 here, and I'm super excited for that. So give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And I guess I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.